Well, I wanted to leave the largest block of our time to really get into that broader category. So we've talked a bit about it. Is it a problem we're solving? Is it desirable? Is there a user out there with a need? We've talked about some strategies to really hone down into answering the questions of, is it feasible? And in answering those questions, really developing the data we need to drive potentially our marketing and our business planning. Let's talk about sustainability. We've had a creative idea. We've been innovative. We had a passion for action. We may even be somewhat entrepreneurial, and we're up and running. But there's a lot of issues about taking a product to market, for example, or a solution to the street, about sustainability. And there are a lot of dimensions to sustainability, from legal to environmental to financial. Thoughts on that? How best to approach that for the person who's got a foot they're willing to stick into the pond?
I mean, one of the key issues is always to have a customer. I think as soon as you have the first customer for the product that is invented or is reinvented, then makes, I think, the commercialization process much easier. One advice is to really early on find consumers, find someone that is willing to pay for your product. Recently I talked to one client and said, yeah, I'm giving out my product to do proof of concept for free for surgeons to use it, or for other medical personnel to use it, and they can test it and see if they like it. I'm like, maybe if you were to find some consumer who want to pay for this product, and is it only $10, $30, $50? It's much better to be in front of investors and say, look, someone paid for my product, instead of I had gotten it for free. So positioning your product so somebody would pay for it, so the value proposition we give to our clients.
I think you're right. I think it is oftentimes confused, the difference between demonstrating the function and proving the concept that someone will pay for the value being exchanged. It's easy to confuse those.
Yeah, when I think of sustainability, I think I can sell one, but can I sell 1,000 or 10,000, or 1 million? And you've got those early adopters, but it's got to penetrate the market deeper than that to really return an investment. And we'll kill a product if it's not. We deal with a square inch analysis where things have to pay for their space and our marketing materials, and if it's not a positive number after a certain time period, it's out. We give it our best shot, but if after 2-3 years it's not making money, we move on to the next product. And part of that, just, is it priced well? Does it deliver value? Does it do what it's supposed to do? All those kinds of things. And when you go into a project, make sure you've got enough money to get past those early hurdles. We developed a product once that got off to a great start, but it developed a battery contact issue, and we really didn't have the resources to come out with a second version of this. And so it died because of quality issue, and when all it really needed was another, just improvement. So think about that. Don't spend all your money on the first generation. Leave a little bit in reserve for improvements.
That's a great point.
I mean, sustainability, is it going to sell?
I think about sustainability, and I also consider things like, am I going to address the problem so well that I'm going to run out of people to buy it? And am I going to have that returning customer, that person who says, I continue to have this issue that I need to have addressed? So really having an ear to the ground to see how well it's performing, and are we able to continue to bring those people back to look at whether or not this is a viable product for the long run.
I'd love to run out of customers. That'd be great if everybody bought one. But part of that might be sharing, it's always nicer when your product has a disposability factor, because it does bring back repeat business, as opposed to them ever only needing one,
Also what we see a lot, since we deal with very early commercialization efforts, is it sustainable in a manufacturing, in a production state? One thing is to have it in a laboratory in 10 milliliters, like a cup full of reagent works great, but can we do this in 1 gallon, in 50 gallon, in 100 gallons? And I think the earlier the faculty realize scale-up issues or address the scale-up issues, manufacturing issues, the better. Again, there's always a solution, and it has to be found, and therefore it can be sustained. If this is not possible, if the technology is too complex, then again, where is the value in commercializing this product?
True. Yeah.
So I think you could take an even broader interpretation on sustainability. Is there going to be any sort of political thing that starts to occur to make it less attractive, right? So is there
Cultural.
environmental effects of having to produce it at the price point you need to in the manufacturing environment? Or are there cultural issues that we didn't anticipate that are making us have to rethink the product?
That's where you kind of need a crystal ball, but you know, larger trends just, you know, in the market, you know, who knew, you know, corded phones would be gone, or maps, you know, who needs maps anymore? I mean, you do kind of have to definitely keep your periscope up and make sure there's nothing down the road that's going to doom your product. You know, some trend that's going to replace it with a new technology. You know, that's hard to do, but that comes from reading and studying and, you know, just really being, knowing your market, yeah.
Well, I think what you all are highlighting, you really need to be clear, not just, I mean, we started off, you need to be clear about the problem, you need to be clear about the user, but at the back end, you need to be very clear about what business you're in. There's a big difference between seeking to sell a product in perpetuity, right, for as long a life cycle as it can have, versus trying to solve a problem in a community that you hope the solution has an end because the problem is cured once and for all. Many of them aren't, but many of them you do try and develop that one-time solution that cultural change then makes unnecessary to repeat. So I think it's very important to be clear about what the end game is, separate from the user and separate from the problem, from your own perspective. But I know we're short on time, and